Okay, everybody, welcome to 256 Garage. Got a little different video for you here today. We're going to start on something that's been sitting around the shop for a while. So let me show you. All right, if you remember the little blue Mustang we painted a while back, started trying to put the interior together. Got a few little things done to it. You know, got the carpet in it, the back seat in it. Waiting on some seat belts, got the dash back in it. Well, still got no motor. We're fixing to change that today with this old Grand Marquis. I think this is about a 89 or 90. I can't remember for sure exactly. But anyway, it's got a good 302 in it. Transmission's bad, but the motor's good. So we're going to start pulling this motor. Well, you can see we done started. But we're going to get this motor pulled out and get it cleaned up. Put a 4-barrel intake on it. Put a set of headers on it. I think we got some nice valve covers. Dress it up anyway. Make it look good. Paint it to Ford blue. And we're going to put it inside this car. So we're fixing to get it pulled out and get started. Hope everyone hangs around. Slowly. Hey, let down on that jack now, Joey. No, the jack. All right. Nothing sketchy here. Except our operator. See, we got our engine out of the car, up on the engine stand. Got the transmission off of it. Transmission's no good. So we're going to get it up here and get it stripped down, get it cleaned up. Like I said, we got the intake, valve covers, putting a small cam in it, oil pan, all that kind of stuff. So let's get it cleaned up. Get over here, we can pressure wash her off. All right, here she is, all pressure washed up. Now we're gonna pull the valve covers, the oil pan, the water pump, timing cover, get the distributor out, get the intake off. Because like I said, we gotta put a front sump pan on it, and we gotta put a cam in it. We're gonna put a cam in it, a hopped up cam, aluminum intake. So that's where we're at here. So we'll get it stripped down. All right, so we got the valve covers off, the intake off. Distributor is gonna be a little trouble. It's a little stuck. Draining oil out of it now. So get the oil drained out. I want to drop a pan. Get the pan off, and I'll snatch the timing cover and water pump off. We know it's a roller motor for sure now, so we know which cam to get. So we'll get us a cam put in it. I think Alan's gonna try to order it tomorrow, or we got one. Anyway, he's gonna try to get it. And we gotta find us a front sump oil pan and some Ford blue paint. She's coming together, boys. Okay, here it is. We got the camshaft in it. Got the timing cover back on. Got the lifters, push rods, rocker arms, roll it back down. Got the oil pan bolted on it, the front sump oil pans. If you remember, it had the dual sump, and the dual sump will not go in the older Mustangs. That's for like the Fox bodies. Got some fresh blue paint on it. Working on the intake over there now. So we're gonna get the intake bolted on it, get some valve covers on it, and get the front seal knocked in it, and get the water pump on it. And then we'll be ready to round us up the transmission and set it in. Well, motor mounts. We gotta have some motor mounts. better start looking for them. We'll get them rounded up and then go from there. Okay, we got the intake and valve covers just sitting up there right now. Just give you an idea of what it's gonna look like. Don't have them bolted on, gotta put the gaskets on it. Letting the paint dry good. I'd like to put another coat on it right quick, so I just wanted to set it on there and let them see what it looked like while it was drying. But that's what it's gonna look like. Valve covers look good. Intake looks good. Motor looks good. Can't wait to get it in this thing and crank it up. So we're gonna put the gaskets on tomorrow. Put the valve cover gaskets on. Get all that bolted down and get the water pump on. Seal, harmonic balancer. Start setting it in. Got her up in the air. Got the transmission hooked to it.
I can only hold it so long.
Are you holding that, Drake?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Let me quit recording and get to work. Yeah. Here she is, folks, going in.
Put the phone down.
Put the phone down. Okay, the motor is setting in. We've got a jack up under the transmission. I've got the starter right here. I think Alan found the cross member yesterday. Got it painted. I'm not sure if we got the right transmission mount, so we may have to get a transmission mount. But if we got the right one, I'm going to try to go ahead and slide under it, put the starter in, get the cross member under it, and then I need to start trying to figure out some transmission lines, because I'd like to get the transmission lines run before we do too much under there and have to start running around everything. So that's our game plan for right now. Okay, right here's the cross member. We got it painted black. Waiting on the transmission mount. Part store should be bringing it over. Starting to get our headers on. Right there's the driver's side. Got it up in place. And no, that's not the bolt. That's just to hold it in place. Got the passenger side on. We just had these headers and was wanting to make sure they fit. So we stuck them up over them bolts. But first I'm going to slide under there and get the starter up. And then we'll start bolting the headers to stay. Okay, we're back on the Mustang. We're working on the pulleys and the brackets. How to make our alternator fit. We're using a serpentine belt and pulley set up off of the Grand Marquis. Got everything lined up like it needs to be. Just got to cut us a couple spacers and then we'll be able to get them in place. Got the fuel pump on. Got us a radiator hose. Radiators over there, but I want to get these brackets perfect before I go trying to put the radiator on. So I'm going to get me a piece of pipe to make me a spacer right there, and then we'll be ready to bolt the brackets down tight. Okay, so we got our brackets and our pulleys made up and our spacers. Need to find a dipstick to go in it, because a lot of times it goes behind one of these bolts. I got my alternator wires here. I'll get them hooked up. We got to get us a belt. I've kind of marked with this old one. I want to pull this bolt out though and cut it off right here so it'll go in flat and I won't have to have all these washers. I need to turn this pipe around to the welded part down. I'd like to paint that washer black or blue where it would blend in, not stick out like it does. Maybe cut the access off of this one and maybe clean these up a little bit. But that's how our bracket setup works now. We had to actually V this one and put a V in it and bend it so we could get lined up with the alternator, because the bend was wanting to hit the case of the alternator. So now we've got it where we can adjust it. So our alternator and our pulleys are in line. Right there. Kind of looks like it's sticking out just a tad, but when you hold the phone right, it shows a little better. But anyway, when we crank it up, we've got it where we can adjust it in or out either way, just a little if we need to. But right now we got it where we can crank it up and we can give it some RPMs and see how the belt's going to do. And the belt is old and grooves are messed up, so that's one reason it makes it look a little crooked. We get the new belt on it, we'll be able to see if it's good and straight and true. And like I said, when we run it, we'll know for sure. And then we can adjust by either taking a washer out or putting a washer in on each bracket. Right here is our radiator. The radiator come off of an Allen 70 model. We've got an aluminum to go on it, an electric fan. So we're gonna put this in on the 68. I got it fixing to brush it off and try to clean it up, paint it black, so it'll look real nice in there. And then we'll get it mounted up. And hopefully our cross member will be here pretty soon where we can get this thing on the lift and start making transmission lines. This ain't really a shiny black, it's like a trim black. It'll dull down a little bit when it dries. Kind of a semi, I guess you call it. I think parts look better it than they do with either a gloss black or a dull black. We'll let that dry off and put another coat on it. Be ready. There it is painted. Just we'll let it dry so we can get it on. We're gonna put a little more on the flues there because that actually is the side that you can see through the grill. So we want it to be good and black and nice. You can see there's a couple little light spots right in there, so we're gonna put another coat on it. Okay, so we got the Mustang over here on the other side up on the left. Got it up where we could get under it. Got the cross member under it. Started working on our transmission lines. We've got them started running through there. We just got to dress them up, get them a little tighter, tuck everything up real nice, and get our drive shaft in, get this old piece of exhaust out. But I don't know if you can kind of see through here. Right there's the transmission lines, how we got them going. We're going to run them up through there around everything, keep them off everything, and have that part done. Okay, as you can see, we got a few more things done today. Our lower radiator hose is wrong. Still waiting on the belt. But we got the upper radiator hose on, bypass hose on, solenoid, voltage regulator. Got the speedometer cable run down through there. Got the headers bolted up, both sides. Headers are bolted up. So all we like on the bottom pretty much is the drive shaft and hooking the transmission lines to the radiator. So it's coming along. Working on our transmission lines here. We got that hooked up. Now we've got to cut this one and make it fit. You can see it's got the wrong fitting on it. We got to have this kind of fitting. So we're fixing to cut it and shorten it right now, and then we'll slide this on and flare it. Okay, we got a flare tool set up. We're gonna try to flare this thing. See how we got a little bit sticking through. I don't know if I can do this one-handed, but we're gonna try. Oh yeah, it's flaring pretty good. Don't forget to put your nut on there, or your fitting. Okay, it's flared there. Now we're gonna take the tool back off. I know this camera footage is killing y'all. Well, I got that. Anyway, see how it's flared? Then your nut will slide over. We'll get it up in place. I'm gonna have to rebend my line, but I'll get it up in place, start it. Okay, now you can see how we got her in place there. If the light will quit glaring. Got both of them hooked up. Now what we'll do is we'll get them all tucked together and tied down where they're not rubbing anything. Clear back through there. And hear that racket back here? Yeah, that's him. Okay, time for a little rundown on the little 68 Mustang. We've got the belt on. I think I done told you about the hoses. Got the fuel line on. Started wiring up the ignition. We're putting the Duraspark. We'll also have a video on how to wire up a Duraspark. So if you need to know on that, you can look it up. It'll be posted by the time this video is posted. We got the distributor in place. Well, it's actually not in place. I got to pull it up. We want to get number one up on top dead center. Point the rotor button where it's supposed to be. Got our new coil. Got our bracket over here just painted. But we're actually fixing to see if we can spin it over and get number one up. Hook the battery up. Got all our cables. So while I got you here, let's just see if it will spin. Or if I have to cut this and retake. Oh, it's spun. Look at there. It will spin over. All right, so I'm gonna set this down, get number one up, and get the distributor in place where it needs to be. Yeah, I've got number one up and the distributor down in place. We pumped up our oil pressure before we put the distributor down in there. So I'm gonna spin it over a little bit now and just see what happens. I don't know why I took the phone away, but anyway, it's spinning over good. So now we've got to finish up our wiring up our electronic ignition and see if we can get this thing to spin with a key. Somebody has cut the harness back there coming out of the firewall, so we're going to have to find our hot wire, find our temp wire, find our oil pressure wire, and run new wires. So let me find our switch wire first, because I want to get that run and finish hooking up our ignition. Okay, so we've got our distributor in now where it needs to be. We've got it plugged up. We've got our coil mounted. So now it's time to hook up the rest of the wires. We've got to hook up the green to the negative side of the coil. We hook up the red to the switch wire and to the positive side of the coil, and then our gray to the solenoid over there. So let me get all that trimmed up and put in place, and so we can start getting that hooked up. All right, we're gonna dump some gas in this thing and see if it'll fire.
I'm hungry. Give me some gas. Bum, bum, bum.
Here we go.
Let me put this down. I don't want to catch fire.
Get ready. You may have to move the distributor. Oh, give us more gas. Give us some more gas. Hey, did you hear that? Get ready.
Let me see if I can fill this carburetor up.
Kids, do not try this at home. I said give it a drink, not the whole bottle. Well, it won't make it an alcoholic.
I'm hungry.
Doing a will it run video on a Ford. It's a Ford, we know it's gonna run.
This is a we know it's going to run, when's it going to crank video.
Except for the miss, it sounds pretty good.
We just need to get some gas hooked up to it now.
It ain't got no miss. That's that ham shit.
All right, now we're gonna get back up in there, get the drive shaft in it, the shifter hooked up, and start pouring some transmission fluid in it, making sure we have no leaks or nothing like that. And then we're gonna crank it and see if the thing will take gear, because we actually don't really know nothing about that transmission. It come in on a motor. Actually, if you know the motor that's in Drake's blue coupe Mustang, I believe that is it. Bought it on a crate, motor, transmission bolted together and all that, painted up, and didn't know nothing about it. Bought it at auction. But anyway, he sent the motor off to have a stroker motor built out of it, and the transmission we just put back and we put it in this car. So, I mean, we're thinking it's a good transmission, but we don't really know for sure. But now that we got this thing where we'll crank, we'll get it where we can let it sit in idle, let that transmission warm up and see if it'll take reverse, see if it'll take gear, and then we'll go from there. So let's get it up in there, get the drive shaft in it, and all that kind of stuff. Get the bottom part done. Okay, we got the drive shaft in. Put brand new U-joints front and back. I need to find a grease gun to see if I can grease them. Right over there it is. I'll go ahead and grease them. Like I said, we put new front and back. We've got the speedometer cable in, the shifter's hooked up, and no, this tape ain't for permanent. It's the rods maybe a little bit short, so I just put it in there to kind of hold it, because it's actually a little loose up in the transmission part, so we're gonna have to find us a bushing and get the rod properly adjusted. So we're fixing to let her down, see if it'll take gear. Okay, we got 5 quarts of oil pulled in it. We're gonna pull our dipstick out, see how close it is. We know we've got a 5-quart pan. I don't know if you can tell it on the stick, but it's a little over the full. Like right there is the safe mark, and it's just right there at it, maybe a tad above it, real close, just right. So we know our dipstick's good, because like I said, we know we got a 5-quart system, and I poured 5 quarts in it, so we're good there. I've poured 3 quarts of transmission fluid in it. I'll probably pour 1 more before we start it, because I know it don't have much in it because it was setting, and you know how transmission is. If it's sitting on the floor and you bump it and it's got a lot of fluid in it, it'll be all over the floor. So I'll pour 1 more in it, and then we're going to pour a little gas down the carburetor. We're going to crank it up, and we've got all our vacuum leaks stopped up, I think, so we'll see if it'll idle. This is not the carburetor we're going to use, so that's why we hadn't done nothing with our fuel line. If I can round up the carburetor we're going to use, then we'll get our fuel line hooked up. We've got our gas tank over here, but it has been sitting for a while, so we're going to have to clean it out. If you know anything about this new gas and sitting in the gas tank for a while, You really can't see in there, but if you can see around the edge, we're gonna have to pour some white vinegar in there and clean it out, make sure it's all good to go. Then we'll be able to bolt it in, hook our fuel lines up, bolt it up with gas, fill it up with water, and let it sit there and run. Okay, I've got switched everything hooked up, and I know it will crank with the key, but since I'm just a one-man band here right now, till Drake gets over here, or Alan, I'm gonna just spin it over with the solenoid. Poured a little gas in it, let's see. I believe it's gonna need just a little bit more. Let me see if I can fill that bowl up, and that way it'll sit there and run in a second. Okay, I think I got the bowl filled up, and I give it a big old drink. Let's see what we can do. May I give it too big a drink. May have flooded it. All right, let me put the phone down for a minute and see what I can do here. Well, run for a second. I just ain't got enough hands for the gas, the phone, the carburetor, but it did crank idle. So let me work on that a little bit, and we'll see if we can get this thing to crank up and idle where we can let it sit and run. All right, she's idling. Well, she idled for a minute there, but we got her idling. I'm afraid that clicking is going to be our fuel pump thing there. I had the wrong eccentric in it, I believe. We'll have to dig into that deeper, but it is idling. Okay, we're back up on top, hooking our heater hoses up now. We swapped to a different carb, that way we can hook our fuel line up like it's supposed to be. If you see, we got the back one. Somebody's put a plug in here and they put some sealer on it, and it does not want to move. And we're worried if we try to pull it out, it'll pull the threads out of that aluminum intake. That's where your heater hose usually goes. But that one was missing a port back there. It was open. So we're gonna run the one in it, and then we'll run the one below it up to the water pump here. So that's what we're working on now. And as soon as we get that hooked up, we'll be able to fill it up with water, and maybe we can let it sit and run idle for a little bit and pull that transmission in gear. Okay, we've got the Mustang moved over here to this side. We have got the gas tank mounted in it. Got it all hooked up, bolted down, fuel pumps in there underneath the bottom. We'll fix to pour some gas in it and see if we can crank this thing. So, cross your fingers. All right, we got some gas poured in it. We're just gonna run our fuel pump wire over to the hot side of the battery right now, and we're gonna see if we can't crank this thing. Okay, it's time to see if this thing crank with the switch. Oh, if I can reach it. Almost. Oh. again. Drake's gonna try it. Don't believe me, I don't think. It'll run.
Somebody reach switch.
I'm gonna have to open the door. Oh, hold up.
All that work and you ain't got the battery on?
Yeah, might need a battery.
Dadgummit.
Now try it. Baby cranks like a Ford. Gotta do something on that starter crossover wire. Oh, it's
Don't kick back out, but
yeah, they kick it back out fast. Climb in and see if it'll take gear, or if it got brakes. I ain't even sure it's got brakes.
I don't know either.
Make sure it's got brakes when you try to take gear.
I'm gonna say it don't.
Might ought to hold up on that part then. We'll get some brakes on the next. Keep it running smooth.
That ain't every carburetor as good as that carburetor.
That's been a good, no matter what you put it on, no matter how long it sits, no matter where it sits, blow dust off of it and go.
Yeah, this car can't be for sale with that carburetor. Bring it up.
Bring your own carburetor.
BYOC, bring your own car.
There you go. Well, let's do some tuning on it. All right, so we got it running. Now it's time for the brakes. Master cylinder's bad, we know of, so we're going to replace the master cylinder, work on the lower and the front end and the back end, or at least the front end. Here, Drake's checking to make sure the inner fender is good. Not really. We're fixing to start lowering the front. So we've took out the shock and pointed that spring in there, hand model. There is the spring. And we're going to cut maybe one off of it, you think?
Yeah, we're gonna cut one off.
We're gonna cut one off of it. So we got our little tool in there, and up here that's gonna collapse the spring. We're gonna cut one coil off. We're gonna put it back in place, stick a tire on, and watch that baby be like money. Okay, if you can see, we got our spring pulled away from the perch. Now we're fixing to go right above the other spot and cut it where the coil ends. Get a little closer here to show you. See where this coil ends back here, the bottom of it. We're gonna go right up above it on this next coil. And that'll cut this whole bottom coil off, drop the bottom just a little bit. Okay, we're going back on the wheel. I'm gonna let her down, see what it looks like. Okay. Like I said, when we let her down, we're gonna let her down. I hope she settles some. Did it change any? Changed a little bit, but we fixed to do a measurement.
I'm saying there's what, 4 inches on this side?
Yeah. 4 inches over.
And we're down to 3.5.
No, or what was you measuring to?
To that ridge or two on the
Oh, that
tire.
ridge.
Yeah. It's about 3.5 now.
So we done a 1/2 inch for the whole coil.
Of course, you gotta think. You gotta take in consideration once you cut this other one, because this is gonna keep it lifted up some.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right there is where it needs to be, just about.
I mean, I ain't saying it's gonna keep it up. We can whack this off and it's gonna drop 2 more inches, but
Yeah.
It may be like an inch in reality once we cut a coil off this side.
Yeah, and we're
Like
still.
I said, that's going to keep it picked up some.
So I think we need to go one more coil on this side, don't you?
Maybe been dropped about 3 inches.
Yeah, and like I said, we only want a half inch. If that's an inch, it may
Well,
be.
in all honesty, to be where I would want it to be, it needs to drop 4 inches.
Yeah.
'Cause I would want it right. I'd want the fender right here myself.
Yeah. That's what I think here. Hold it and I'll push it down. Maybe a nose dive when I push it down.
Yeah. See, that's a lot closer. Still, I'd like to see it
Even more than that.
a little bit more than that, but that's a lot more like it needs to be.
I think we need to go down. I think we'll need at least a couple more coils. Let us cipher. All right, so we're back up and punting. We're fixing to take another coil off and see what happens. We're going at a little different angle this time, so maybe it won't pop real loud. We ain't gonna watch all this cutting. Oh, we might could. Bad thing about cutting with the air one versus that electric one. That electric would go right through it, and air would take forever. There it is. Now we'll put her back in place and let her down again. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. I hear the music. Boom, 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 boom. That's where we need to be. And like I said, I believe that. I don't know. I still keep wanting that back to be. That back just needs more tire. You know what?
Yeah, but we couldn't get it tall.
Yeah, I know. We couldn't get no more tire, but it sure is. It looked like it actually needs to be a little wider even. You know what? And that's unusual for one of these. But that front's where it's at now. All right. Time to do the next. Okay, we got our spring compressor in. Y'all can hear me over the sander. We're fixing to compress this spring so we can cut the coil off like we did the other side. So we're fixing to get it pulled up and go from there. We got her cut. Now we just got to spin it out of here. I guess we can spin it out of here. Or it's just going to keep going round and around. I guess I'm going to have to cut it again just so we can get it out of there now. Because I can't get it turned to come out of there. Alright, we'll cut it again. Nope, we was able to spin it out of there. Now let's let the pressure back off. Boy, it looks like a long way. Alrighty, let's see. This side's higher.
Yeah.
Keep settling though.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too low. Let's take a look and see. For all you people earlier in the video saying, you cut too much, you cut too much. Okay, y'all know what you're talking about. We got another set. Cutting a little less off of. Yep, she was low. here we go, everybody. So much for slowly.
Third time's the charm.
12th set of springs. I hope you push on it, it goes down. Because right now it looks just like where we started. I don't understand. Guess we let it sit a little while.
It's amazing how
one does that,
does nothing,
and two sets it flat on there. I don't know if we need to cut a half off or what. Back up, punt. Okay, so here we are. One is not enough, and two is way too much. So about all we can do now is start a quarter at a time. Cut a quarter off, let it down, see what happens, go from there. Okay, we got the master cylinder on. We bench bled it, brought it over here, put it on, got the lines hooked up. So now we're gonna slide up under it. I'll get Joey inside. He's gonna pump the brakes for me, and I'll slide up under it, and we're gonna start at the back corner, furthest from the master cylinder. We'll bleed it. We'll move to this end, bleed it. We'll move to the front right here, bleed it. Move to this front, bleed it. And then if everything still feels a little spongy, we'll bleed the master cylinder a time or two. But it should be bled out because, like I said, I bench bled it on the vise before we even put it on. So that's where we're at, and let's get the brakes bled. All right, we're up here under here bleeding the brakes on our Mustang. You got them pumped up, Joey?
Yep.
Hold them.
His legs ain't strong enough to pump them up.
You holding them?
Yep.
You gotta say that.
I'm home.
Brake bleeding 101. Hear that air? Pump them up. I hold them. Well, that stuff looks rough. We're going to have to pump all that out there. Stay tuned. Okay, we got our rear brakes bled. Now we're gonna go to the front. See if I can see them in here without. Alright, we're gonna bleed them, see if there's any air in them. I can see the air coming out right there. Alright, mash it down slow and hold it. Okay, so we got it where we think we want it. So now we're gonna put the shocks on and let it down, and we'll show everybody where it's at. I don't know if you can see them over there. We've got a pile of springs. Hey, well, what can we say? That's the part you don't see on a lot of YouTubes is the mess ups. But anyway, let's get the shocks on. We'll get them mounted, let it down, show you what it looks like. Okay, here it is. We want it to go down a little lower, but just come off a jack, so we think it's gonna settle a little bit more. So it should be lower at its final resting place, I guess you call it. But let me just show you here. That's what's left over. 2 sets of springs. 5,000 cuts later. That's all the stuff they don't show you on YouTube, the trial and error. Those two we ended up cutting too far, and it set flat on the tires. We put 2 more in it, cut them once, wasn't enough, cut them a little more, had this side a little lower than the other side, cut about that much more off the last one, and here's where we're at. And like I said, I think after it sets more, it's going to settle more, but that's got it lowered right there. That's where we're going to leave it, and it looks a lot better than it did, so we're going with that. That's going to do it for this video. I think it's the video number 4. We got it lowered, got the brakes working, master cylinder replaced, brakes bled. It's cranking, running. We was wanting to drive it in this video, but it took so long doing the lower, and this is where we're at. So next video, battery mounted, hood mounted, start getting it together, getting it cleaned up, and driving it. 256 garage out. Got it jacked up. We're gonna see if this thing will take reverse. Nothing so far. May need some more fluid in it. Yeah, I believe she's gonna need a little more fluid. She tried right there. Yep. Take another quart of our ATF in there. Top there. Fluid. Dump in it, go from there. Alright, we got our fluid in her. Right, it's time to let her down off the jack and see if we can pull out. Got stuff in the way, though. Alright, let's see what we can do. I got it set down in there where it won't come out. If it comes out, the hood's gone. Alright, we got her. Whoop, took reverse. Oh, she's driving. Remember, use that power steering. Look at that, look at that. Here we go. And your trunk, your hood, water bottle. First test drive. Yeah, the trunk won't shut either. Oh, I was thinking cars are in the way. Oh, there's a big trailer in the way. Somebody should have walked out to the road. I hear it coming back. Well, not sure how far it went, but it went somewhere back. Now we can check everything out. Going backwards. Yeah. Transmission's giving a little tricky shifting. It's been setting a long time, so we got it in here and jacked it up. Run it through the gears, made sure it's full of fluid. and now we're gonna try to keep it. Still ain't shifting just right. Back up and punt again. Still not shifting. Oh, there it went. Do what? Oh, right there. Transmission check, take 15. Don't hit as much of a lick as I'd like this. Of course, I think when I had exhaust on it, it changed the tone of that and make it. Cause sometimes, yeah, it does.
That's what it can do.
That real difference of idles will make a big. Don't sound like it shifted, did it?
He's got that pull too tight. There's it. It shifted.
Sounds good right there.
It's definitely not in low gear anymore. It's not in Kansas anymore. I'm tired of spinning tires on our new road. We won't ever get another one.
I was just thinking about the tread on the new tire.
We'll have that.
Transmission's not doing exactly right. It's kind of wanting to stick and stuff, so we may have to do a little more something to it. Maybe something in the valve body, but we'll go from there. Runs out good though. When it shifts good, feels good. So like I said, thinking something in the valve body. Now we can just get this thing together, get all the chrome pieces and all that kind of stuff on it, be ready to go.
Oh, well, they dropped the ball last night.
Well, we're not 100% sure this is gonna work.
It don't matter.
Well, we got transmission
It don't
troubles. You know,
It don't matter whether you think it's
256
going to work
garage
or
don't
not.
have trouble, so you know.
You take video of
You
it
always
to
make
prove.
sure it's perfect in the video. You know, makes us look better.
Yeah. Well, last night they put the valve body in. The transmission was pouring out of the shifter linkage hole, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, shifter seal.
So they put a shifter seal in it, and Jason's putting the pan back on it now. I guess what's left, fill it up and see if it's gonna work.
Well, yeah, I think fill it up, see if it's gonna go this
Did y'all
time.
put the shifter?
No, I gotta put the
passing gear.
O-ring back in it.
What about the passing gear?
That's what I'm
Right.
saying. I gotta put that O-ring and the passing gear thing back on, and then we'll be ready to dump some fluid in.
The nut should be laying.
See what happens.
Alrighty. I thought we just got that valve body put in.
Mind your business. Ain't you got a Camaro over there that needs to be done?
Well,
Sit over here bothering us.
well, I'm doing it. It looks like y'all are putting it in reback or something.
We're just making modifications because we want this thing to shift. faster and harder. I must have found it. Is that the O-ring right down there?
It may be, because I felt something hit my hand. And I looked down, I thought, what was that? Well, all I know is I can't believe the transmission man let y'all put that in without putting that arm on.
It'll go right there.
Oh, we didn't have an O-ring.
Yeah. Waiting on O-ring. Waiting on a parts store.
So why would y'all went ahead and put it in there? That don't
We
make
ain't
sense.
got time to mess around on video like some.
But you got time to do it twice.
Exactly. And it wasn't because of this.
What do y'all think, people? I don't think that's too smart.
I think you need to mind your business and start sanding again.
All right. I'm going to go back over there saying,
Hey, go over there and say, hey, you missed the spot.
you know, you could burn me because this is like the third time I've sanded that car all over.
I wasn't going to say that. I'm not that kind of guy. We ain't like that, are we, Adam? We ain't going to say that you sanded clean through twice.
I don't understand.
Okay, so we got the valve body back in. We're running it in reverse here, getting some fluid in it, getting it full. Then we're gonna see how it shifts, or if it will shift, and go from there. We're over here working on the Mustang today, trying to get the grill in. Drake Allen is over there, 400 wet sand in the Camaro to try to get the rear part ready to paint. I'm trying to get some of the stuff on the Mustang, put the one door handle on, got the gas lid on. Now I'm working on the grill, try to get this grill stuff mounted. Okay, we got the grill, the headlights in, bumper bolted down all the way, got the chrome on it, got the hood on, got it looking good. Got to do some adjustment. We need our hood stop on this side here. See how it comes down too far? We'll find our hood stop for that. Well, okay, folks, here it is. If you can hear me, winds are blowing. Windy, rainy, but here it is. Got it running, driving, shifting, transmission shifting like it's supposed to. Pretty much got it all the way together. We like the door locks and the door panels. You can see we got the seats in it. Interior's in. Our wood grain is coming off our panel over there, so we're going to have to do something there, either get some more wood grain or see if we can get it to stick back and stay like it's supposed to. We like the T-handle on the shifter, and like I said, putting the door panels on and the door locks in. But it's turned out real nice, running, driving good, shifting good. It was a problem in the valve body. A valve was sticking, not letting it shift like it's supposed to. Oh yeah, we like that piece of chrome on the fender there. But it's turned out real nice, looks real nice, runs good, sounds good. We wanted to crank it up and drive it down the road for you, but the way it's raining and the winds are blowing, we're gonna hold off on that. But we wanted to get the video out of it pretty much completed. Like I said, still likes the door locks, and we want to get them keyed to the keys like it's supposed to be. We don't want to have 4 different keys. We don't want to switch key, one door key. You know, we won't get a matching set. But there it is, 68 Mustang project. Started with the motor out of a 90s Grand Marquis transmission that Drake took in on the trade, where he bought an old motor, at an auction. Wheels and tires put on it. It's turned out to be a real nice car. Looks real good, runs out real good. Be a nice driver for somebody. 256 Garage out.